we've just recently had a State of the Game for Division 2, and they said last week that this is going to be the biggest, most ambitious update to come to the game. TU6 looks like it's going to be fun, but Episode 2 looks like it just sucks. It's personal opinion, I'm not bitching about the game, I'm simply just putting across what I think, how I feel, and I'm going to be talking to you about some of the things that I picked up because it wasn't that interesting today. Like, you had Hamish talking to Yannick and Frederick, and sometimes they don't even know what's going on with the game themselves. They were talking about sound bugs, and then Hamish goes, oh, there's no sound bugs in Division 2, and Frederick goes, oh, it's nice to keep up with the memes. You're taking the piss out of memes about your own game. But we're going to start, this isn't really covering anything TU6, this is all Episode 2 stuff, because that's what they spoke about today. The release date is the 15th for the Year 1 pass owners. If you don't own that pass, you will get your hands on it on the 22nd, so it will be just 1 week later. Starting off, we have 2 new main missions. We've got the one that's in the Pentagon, and we have one that's a DARPA facility or something like that. But basically, coming to Episode 2, as standard, is 2 new main missions. Whether one of them turns into a stronghold at a later date, we're yet to find out. There are 2 classified assignments. As always, I will cover the collectibles on the channel for those when they are released. In the trailer, they've been giving players false hope. They showed an LVOA that was fully auto. That was literally just for the trailer. That is not coming into the game. They're not making the LVOA full auto. I believe it used to be in Division 1. I don't know why they changed it. Same with the lightweight M4. That doesn't count as an AR, but it has done previously, and there's loads of different things that people can sit there and complain about. But they showed an LVOA in the trailer, just to let you guys know that will not be full auto when this update drops. Out of everything they could have done for conflict and the PvP side of the game, they added in team elimination. If you've played Breakpoint, you'll be fully aware of what it is. It's basically 4v4, you go onto a map, you have to kill the other team, you get 1 life. It's like search and destroy without the bomb. Whether or not this game will make it as much team-based as Breakpoint is, I'm probably going to try it. I'm not a PvP guy, mainly, but I will try it because I love the PvP in Breakpoint, and I want to see if it's got that same immersion and same feeling as Breakpoint. Not only that, but with the conflict, they've literally released 1 new map. Every other map you're going to play in this new mode or anything like that is all old content. It's all the old maps. They've just released 1 map. And I mean, it's taken a couple of months for them to get all this stuff planned. This is the biggest downfall, and apologies for anything I've said in the past about this. They told us something completely different to what is actually happening. The second raid for this game in the Foundry, it's still being worked on. They want to make it better and more challenging than the first one, Operation Dark Hours. It's not going to be ready anytime in 2019. The second raid for the game that was supposedly going to drop, if not with around the time of Episode 2, is not coming until at least... they haven't even put a time frame on it. They've just said it will not be ready this year. So there's at least another 2-3 months before we even hear about it again. Technician, the new specialization, and I think this is ridiculous. We have a 6 missile launcher. It locks onto enemies. I don't know how it's going to work for PvP. I don't know if it's going to be enjoyable to actually use. And not just that, your specialization ammo, I believe, is still limited to 8 rounds. For whatever specialization you've got, you have 8 bits of ammo. 8 bullets, 8 shells, 8 rockets, whatever. You just have 8. This is a 6 missile launcher. If you're locking onto enemies, and you can put 3 rockets onto one enemy, 2 onto one, then 1 onto another. But if you're using 6 rockets in one shot, you're left with 2, and then you're out grinding and farming again to get more specialization ammo. So I believe, literally just off the bat, I don't think it should be a specialization. It should be a standard weapon, or at least buff the amount of ammo you can get. I don't know if they're doing that for certain, but not only that, it looks dreadful. It works with EMPs, and you've got all these different disruption and shock skills and things like that. So it's pretty much for a skill build. But the rocket launcher itself, it takes so long. In the work in progress build that they showed, it takes at least 2 or 3 seconds to actually lock onto a target. You've got to do that 6 times. Say it's 2 seconds each one. That's 12 seconds to lock on all of your missiles by that time, if you're playing challenging content, you could be dead. Because you have to stand out in the open. You can be behind cover, but I think you have to peek in order to get that to come up with the guided system where it locks on. And just in general, I don't like the look of the specialization. Because I own the Year 1 pass and anyone else with the Year 1 pass, we get instant access. We don't have to go through all the different challenges. But what they said they've done as well is they've tightened up the challenges, made it easier to unlock the specializations. So anyone that went for Gunner, you put 50 hours in to get Gunner, you might only have to do 20 hours for Technician, but they're doing the same thing with Gunner now. So anyone that's grinded for Gunner and spent a lot of time going through them challenges, waiting weeks and weeks for them to patch some of the bugs that were involved that was preventing people unlocking the specialization, you've now been kicked in the teeth because they've lowered the amount of time it takes to unlock it. The Artificer, it's a really complicated word, that's how Frederick was pronouncing it. But that is a new hive. It's going to be buffing other skills in the area, but it can also work off your back. So, like the hive is on screen now on my back, you can use this Artificer hive, and it's going to work literally, you don't have to deploy it. All hives are now going to work on a charge basis instead of cooldown, so you'll be able to pick them back up when you're done. If you put down the Stinger hive? There's a hive that basically attacks the enemies. If that's used, say you've got 24 charges on it, if it uses 12, you can pick it up, chuck it down in another area with no cooldown, and use it again. Another thing to note is this Artificer hive can actually buff other hives. So it could be a cool thing. They're messing around with skill builds, so it's another thing we're going to have to wait and see. But it could be good to use that hive, especially because it boosts anyone on your team. If you're playing group play, it's going to work out quite well. One thing to note though, if someone in your group has EMP grenades, apparently if you're not speccing into the health for your skills, someone can actually destroy them, or you could destroy your own skills. I don't know how it works with someone else throwing one and it destroying your skills, but you can destroy your own skills, or at least disrupt them and disable them temporarily with an EMP grenade. So I don't think that's a good addition. But that's pretty much all I've got. The last thing to note is there's going to be a free weekend for the game. You don't have to pay, it's across all platforms. It runs from the 17th to the 21st of this month. So if you're interested and you don't want to fork out money because you're hearing negative stuff left, right and centre, you can try it on any of those days. But that's going to do it for the State of the Game recap. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.